Hello everyone and welcome back to Timberborn. This one took a little while to come out. I did want to do 2 videos a week, but I got ill. I got really sick, and it was that sort of sickness where you can't look at a screen because the world starts to spin. So apologies for that. And apologies for the no long video of this. That's because to get this reservoir finished took 4 hours. It took 4 hours to do, to build, to work out, and just before I was about to open up the reservoir, get the water in, we got hit by a pretty big drought. So I thought, well, there's no point in doing that, so we'll wait and we'll do a bit of an extension. But more of that coming up later in the video. What I've decided to do on this video, there's a little bit of beaver sacrifice that happens, and that was in order to survive a drought that was going on. And I thought, as that happened, it was a bit lame. It was a bit of a lame way to play the game. So I've made some decisions. I've made some decisions, and those decisions are: we're going to create some new rules. This is going to be the sort of end of the series to get a reservoir on this map functioning to be able to survive long droughts. So we're going to use this build of this colony to start a permadeath series. And a permadeath series will be, I am not allowed to interfere with any beaver colony on any of the map that I build. I can't sacrifice them to districts. I'm going to show you what that means later on in this video. I can't sacrifice them to any other districts. When they run out of water and they get to 0, and there's nothing I can do by controlling the birth rate through the birthing pods, that will be the end of the run. And that's going to be the next video. That's where we're going to start. Let's concentrate on this one. So what I'm doing here is I am getting the power. I'm getting the power from that geothermal free power source that they've put on these new maps. And I am working out a route to bring it through the reservoir and bring it down to be able to get the wood and the cogs going faster. And that's because I need to build pumps. I need to be able to build pumps to get the water out of that central area, and I need to start producing that stuff pretty quickly. So that's what you just saw me working on there, and also trying to build the rest of the levee in order to get that water out there in the future. And as we can see on this map, as we already discussed, what the developers did is they made this seeping water source only come up 1 block, which has caused all of these problems. And it causes another problem later on in the video as well. It causes a pretty big problem in the form of bad water. That was pretty devastating to discover, and it caused me to think of a new engineering solution to stop that from happening again further down the line. Right, we're going to skip forward. We're going to skip forward to a decision that I had to make in order to be able to get this series to a place it needed to get to, and that's a sacrificial colony. Now, these are horrible. It basically means there's all the water's gone. As you can see in this colony, it's only got 470 odd water left. Food is not a problem, but there's 61 beavers. They're not going to survive on that level of water when there's 20 days left. So what you end up having to do is build a new district and make all of those beavers go to that district. And that's the end of those beavers. Really depressing. Not a very nice tactic in order to be able to do these long levels. And this is the last time on this series, and probably on this channel, you're ever going to see this strategy of play. We're going to get this map to a level where we can start the perma from it. And that really comes from getting this reservoir built and working. Oh, look how sad that is. It's just so sad. They're so hungry and they're so thirsty. There's nothing they can be done for these beavers anymore. They've sacrificed themselves for the greater good of this channel to the fact where we can start the proper game after this. It's one of the downfalls of doing these 130 day droughts when you don't have a reservoir built to be able to sustain them. And I think, as you guys can see already, it's not a small structure. The reservoirs are not small structures at all. So we'll leave those beavers behind, and we're going to skip forward again to the next part. We are focusing on the build now of the reservoir. We've got power train being put in, and we're building the other part of the power train to make use of that. So when beavers are born, they can get and start using those factories to build things. We're also starting to think at this stage of how to make this autonomous and how it's going to function. And we're going to start looking at the mechanical side of the build of this reservoir. I want it to have a self-leveling feature on it, so I don't have to be worried about opening and closing the gates constantly when there's a drought and not a drought. I want it to manage itself. And I already noticed halfway through this build that I'm going to have to probably make more modifications to it in the later game. I tried to think about the future of what it's going to work like, but on the north side, I should have blown out more dynamite and created a wall down there with another sluice on the end of it to give me an option further down the line. We're building stairs into the middle. We're going to start using dynamite to blow that out to get as much water in here as physically possible on the map. We've already known that the seeping water is on tile grid 1, and because of that, that's the lowest point. That's the maximum amount of water we can get, so we can get 8 tiles high. So the drought was over. Hooray, everyone was happy. The beavers started planting. Well, when I say they were happy, they were probably mourning the loss of the massive amount of beavers that was sacrificed for them to be able to live. And this goes through a very long, boring period of getting the colony of beavers back up to an amount that could start building the reservoir again. So we're going to skip past all this boringness and jump when there's been a massive boom in beaver population. So this was an interesting one. This is what I was talking about earlier. A bad water tide hit, and it opened up a new problem of destroying all of the plants on the lower ground, all of the trees on the lower ground. Beavers were getting infected and created a real problem that I just didn't think of. I didn't think that when there was a bad tide, it was going to decimate this entire area. So we're now in a bit after the bad tide, and I am pumping out all of that bad water in the middle. And you can see what it's doing. It's as the bad water is going, the trees and plants are growing around it. And that's just genius from a developer point of view. Just think about how they coded that. It's just, this game is just amazes me of how much thought they put into it. The bad water is going out, which is making the land around it clean, and you can see the line that it's getting up to. And I'm desperately trying to pump that out to get the trees, the 30-day trees, watered. And then I thought, oh, hold on, but now I'm running out of water. I've got all of these beavers, they've got no water, it's got bad water, so I've got half good water and half bad water to get the pumps out. It also led me down a path of thinking, how do I solve this in the future? Because I'm on tile level 1, how am I going to get rid of that bad water? And the only way I could think of doing it in a very early game is with sluice gates. And whenever it detects bad water, it shuts them. They will never go any higher than a tile. When it pumps, yes, I'll lose all the rest of the water in that pond, but at least it won't infect everything else. So you can see me building that here. We're putting in those sluices, and we're setting it if you see any more than 1% of bad water, close, and that should keep that bad water in that block. I actually, at this stage, I don't even know if that's going to work. It was just an idea that I had for a possible solution that won't cause me that issue that just happened, with the thought of, well, when the nice water comes, I've only got to get rid of 4 squares of bad water rather than a whole pond. So hopefully in the future, we'll see if that works out for us. So now I'm starting to look at the self-leveling option, we've got some sluices that are set to when that water in the reservoir gets to 80 to close, and then having a drain on the left-hand side, which will just pour that water out. The pumps will carry on working, but it means I don't have to watch them and turn them on and off. And we're now starting to use dynamite to create the river from the reservoir into the main pond, and we're blowing that up all the way down to the bottom, and that will be able to self level the reservoir in the later game. And I'm really hoping that once this is done, I don't have to touch this thing ever again, because it's all set up to self level. And in a future video, I'll show that working. Right now we're just building it and we're working out how it goes. I realized quite quickly that I'd made a mistake. I wanted to be able to get power to those pumps while having a path, so I had to delete half of the front of the mechanical area to then be able to make the power chain that links up to the geothermal free energy. I need to work out what that thing's actually called. I keep making an idiot of myself every time I try to think it. The free energy that's coming out of the ground. We'll just stick with that for now. This was pointless. I started blowing up a channel because I wanted to plan for the future. I want to maximize as much water as I possibly can, and the best way for me to maximize that water is to just blow out all of the ground. And then I realized actually I was going to use metal to make this power chain, so I only had to do one bit of the ground. It doesn't matter, I'm going to do it all anyway. It's just a massive waste of resources and energy at this time. So we're now getting to the sort of end game on this, the build of this reservoir. We've got the power being worked out to power the two pumps at the front. We've got sluice gates, which make it self-leveling, so I never have to worry about that. That becomes autonomous when the new water comes. We've got the drain at the bottom that goes into the lake that will open and close when it reaches 80 water in height. So the reservoir will auto-fill itself. We've even done the back of the reservoir as well, where we can see on the north side that stream goes off into the distance. What I've done there is I've done a sluice facing forward and a sluice facing backwards. In the future, I don't know where this water is going to be coming from or what it's going to be doing. And that's the part I made a mistake back there. That's where I should have dynamited out and put it to the floor. I'm probably going to have to fix that later when I work out where that water's coming from further down the line. But for now, it's kind of future-proofed. I don't really know what I'm going to do on the next stage of this, on the permadeath front. That will be the next video where I'm going to create a plan for the future of the colony and work out where I go next. But that series might end pretty quickly. So now we just watch the beavers build for a very, very long time. And it's crazy to watch the game at this speed, because I was playing this live and thinking, oh, I'll do a long video for this. And it got to 2 hours, it got to 3 hours, and it got to 4. And I think I can't upload that. That's not the point of my learning process that I'm doing for YouTube. So no long one. But hopefully you'll appreciate the build of the reservoir. So if you guys have got any ideas or suggestions where we take this next, the end, if we don't die by permadeath, the end game for this is to build the Wonder, where they all fly away to another colony, or they all die. Based on the last drought, I don't have much hope. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get enough water in this to be able to sustain the amount of beavers that we need to. But we'll see. So we got to this part of the game and the reservoir was built. I was excited. We were going to turn it on. You can see they're paused, and then the drought warning came up, and then the drought hit. There's no point of pumping that water out of the pond. It will just dry everything up. So I thought, okay, that sucks, but that's the game. Let's extend the reservoir. You're right. I mean, that sounds crazy, right? It took us so long to build it. I thought, well, in 44 days, can we build an extension? And that's what we're going to do. And the idea of this extension, this was always going to be extended. I think I remember in an early video talking about it. I was going to extend into this area anyway and create a tunnel underneath where the power currently is to then make use of this side as well. Why not? It will give the beavers a lot more chance of survival, and that's what I did. And you can see that reverse sluice I've put there because I have no idea in the future what this is going to be. There's a river path that goes off to the north. Water could come in through there, or water could go out of there. I don't know. And that's why I build those forward-backward ones. And just for later game, certainly if I don't want to be draining a reservoir if I'm worried another drought's going to be coming along. It's the same idea as the other reservoir. There's a lot of levees to hold a lot of water in with draining points. And as soon as you know how to do this basic design, it's not really exciting after that. And something I've got to think about for these videos of what they're going to look like in the future and where we're going to go with this. As I say, this is all an experiment for me. I've been watching my videos back and I'm not too happy with them at the moment in the way that they're put together. But I'm waiting for my mic stand to come. I'm waiting for some new bits and pieces to come. I'm doing some tutorials. So this is a journey and it's all about learning as we move forward. You can see the beavers did a pretty good job on this. We had a lot of logs. There was a lot of logs from the last water moment. So the wood wasn't a problem in building this. And they get through it pretty quickly. We're going to skip ahead. We're going to jump straight ahead. And the drought has ended. That was many days. The drought has ended. And for the first time, we're going to turn the water pumps on. And here it comes. All of that glorious water entering our reservoir. It's going to go underneath the path that we blew out. And it's going to go into the other side. And it was going to be a wonderful moment, and we were going to celebrate it in a much shorter video than the one this one's turned out to be. And it took ages. It is quite funny on the long video. I actually, at this point, I ended the video. I was like, oh, we're going to watch the water come in, and it's going to be amazing. We've done it. Let's celebrate. And it's a big achievement, but it takes forever to fill. And it takes forever to fill because I do not have enough power to power those two pumps. It was something that we spoke about earlier in the videos. I was worried that there wasn't going to be enough power to make them work very well, and my fears were confirmed. You can just see how sped up this video is and how much water is not going into the reservoirs. But it is good to see that the reservoir is working. That's great. It's being powered by itself, which is even better with free energy. And the idea of the other side, the extra reservoir filling as well, is exciting. It's much more water. Now, what you are witnessing now is the colony that we will create a save point from. This will be our template. From now on, this moment, we are in permadeath mode. They have this water from these reservoirs and any other reservoirs I build and the food that they are consuming to get through the droughts. I am not allowed to sacrifice any more beavers. I'm not allowed to do anything weird to the beavers to sneakily cheat the drought. We will do a permadeath, and if they run out of food, if they run out of water, and there were no beavers left, that is the end of the series. So thank you for staying along. Thank you for staying along through this reservoir build. It's been mad. It's been a learning experience for me. When you play the game, you don't really think, if I was to tell other people what I'm learning and how I'm doing it, what that would look like until you try these things. So thanks for staying with me. Hope you stick around. Let's watch that Permadeath series. I'm going to try and make these videos 10 minutes, and take care of yourselves, and see you in the next one.